Hi everyone, my name is Lydia and this is what I wish they taught me about econometrics and introduction. In the previous videos, we've detected heteroskedasticity, so now the question is, how do we fix it? The answer is surprisingly simple, and we don't change the regression at all. We only change how we compute the standard errors. So keep in mind, what we will do is that the OLS coefficient will remain exactly the same. We're not re-estimating the model, but we re-estimate the uncertainty about the model. And this is a very important conceptual point because basically robust standard errors are not a different estimator. Not a different estimator overall, okay? They are simply a different way of measuring the precision of the same estimator. Okay? So what are robust standard errors? As we have said, just standard errors by themselves measure how much our estimate would vary across repeated samples. The usual formula assumes that all observations have the same error variance. Now, robust standard errors drop that assumption. They allow each observation to have its own level of variability. Okay? Now, they are called robust because they give us still a valid, okay, coefficient or estimation, and we're going to have valid results whether or not heteroskedasticity is present, okay? Which is in the previous video where we saw the R application, for instance, the answer was that there was no heteroskedasticity. So the moment that we switched the model from using regular standard errors to robust standard errors, we actually saw that there wasn't that much of a difference in the actual standard errors reported, okay? So if homoskedasticity holds in fact, robust standard errors give you approximately the same answer as regular standard errors. If heteroskedasticity is present, then robust standard errors give the correct answer. So you lose very little, so to speak, by using them always, which is why in most of the material that you are given in your classes, you will see that automatically at the end of the regression, you have robust standard errors as part of the model, okay? Sometimes, and this is a little bit more on the technical side, but depending on the software, you might see HC0, HC1, HC2, or HC3, because these are all like heteroskedasticity consistent standard errors, basically. HC is another way for saying standard errors, okay? So it stands for standard errors. Most of the times, the one that it's mostly used is HC1, but again, you'll have to be very careful with the kind of code that you are given and the kind of material that you're doing in your own class so that you can adopt the HC version, which is mostly used in your own course, okay? What each of these methods in any case is doing is that they are accounting for the fact that some observations are noisier than others, and they give less weight to noisy observations when estimating how uncertain we are about the beta. There are things that change, and then there are things that don't change. So let's do a quick summary of the things that change and the things that don't change. So in things that don't change, you definitely have coefficients. Okay, so as we said again, we're not doing another re-estimation, so it's not a different estimator, it's the same. So coefficients don't change. However, everything starting from standard errors to t-stats to p-values or confidence intervals are all going to change. Okay, so everything that depends on standard errors change. Everything that doesn't, so coefficients will not change. And we can actually add to this doesn't change list also the R square or the F statistics of fit that you see, because these are more related to the model rather than to any of the particular betas that you are trying to estimate. Robust standard errors can be larger or smaller than regular standard errors, which in the end will decide the direction of the standard errors change. You could have cases where literally when you use regular standard errors, you could have a case, let's say, when standard errors are equal to 0.5 and you calculate the t-stat based on some beta that you have, and let's say you get a t-stat of 4.0. This is very significant, right? So normally you'd have 3 stars associating values like this. Let's say that when you actually estimate the robust standard errors for the same case, the beta coefficient has not changed, but your standard errors have changed because you had a heteroskedasticity. So now the t is going to be something more like 2.5. Now, this is still significant, right? But this is not something as extreme as the 4 in there, okay? And sometimes it could be another case where it's even more extreme. And let's say if you had regular standard errors, let's say your standard errors were 0.5, you had a t that was 2.1. This is significant, okay? But the moment that you realize that you have heteroskedasticity and you estimate the robust standard errors, then you might come up with the fact that, okay, standard errors are now 0.8, but the t-stat is going to be 1.3. And now you no longer have a statistically significant coefficient, okay? So this second case is why heteroskedasticity matters in practice, because a result that looks significant under regular standard errors does not survive the robust standard errors, okay? So it means that the estimations that you were doing in the beginning, like you had quite a bit of noise in there, okay? So when should we use, in general, robust standard errors? The answer is almost always. So as I said earlier, even in cases where you know that you don't have heteroskedasticity, they are still used as a default way of coding and running any types of regressions. And the reason for that is because there's always like underlying doubts about the presence of heteroskedasticity, especially, for instance, when you work with cross-sectional data. Okay, so in cross-sectional data, heteroskedasticity is the norm. In large data sets, even the mildest heteroskedasticity can have an effect in inference. Okay, so be mindful in large data sets. Even with mild heteroskedasticity issues. And anytime you are unsure about the heteroskedasticity assumption or homoskedasticity assumption in general, okay? So many applied economists also, you'll see and read lots of papers in your econometrics journey. But many applied economists use robust standard errors by default in every regression, not just when they suspect heteroskedasticity. The cost of using them when they aren't needed, luckily, is very small, and the cost of not using them when they are needed can be quite significant. Now, what do robust standard errors not fix? Okay, so robust standard errors cannot fix omitted variable bias, okay? Because in this case, coefficients are still biased if you omit a relevant variable, okay? And heteroskedasticity, there's nothing that it can fix in there. Robust standard errors cannot fix measurement error, which is another OLS problem that we will see in another video. And they cannot fix endogeneity issues. Okay, so still will require other types of solutions in there. So robust standard errors are a very specific problem to the specific problem of heteroskedasticity, and only that problem. Okay. You might think that robust standard errors are a general cure-all, but again, they are not. They only address the inference consequences of heteroskedasticity. Robust standard errors fix inference under heteroskedasticity by allowing each observation its own variance, leaving coefficients unchanged, but correcting the t-stats and the p-values. In the next video, we're going to look at an alternative approach, which is the weighted least squares, which goes further also by improving the efficiency. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.